Kal Kadosh, Boker Or, Shavua Tov, Masechet, Bava Kamma daf 87A1. We're just starting on the last line in Pei Vav Amud Bet. Sorry, where it says like this: Tanya Yidach. We learned in a bright Rabbi Yehuda says, "Suma el no boshet." The person that's blind has no boshet. V'chen haya Rabbi Yehuda potro mikol dinim sheva Torah. The same halacha would apply that he exempted him from all the mitzvot of the Torah. So therefore, there's no chiyuv to pay bullshit for a blind person. And Rabbi Yehuda used to say that he's actually patur from all the dinim of, here it adds in dinei mamonot in the Torah. Okay? Because obviously, if you do know, there's going to be a Rabbi Kiva, it's not that pashut that he's going to be exempt from the negative commandments. It could be only for the positive commandment. But let's see. My ta'amad Rabbi Yehuda, what's the reasoning Rabbi Yehuda? Says the Gemara Menakar, the pasuk says, "V'shafetu ha'edam ben hamakeh u'ben goel adam al ha'mishpatim ha'ele." So they're going to judge between the makeh and the goel adam. So you have a person that killed accidentally, and then you have the goel adam. Goel adam is the redeemer of the blood, the closest of kin that wants to get vengeance. They just killed their father accidentally. Now they want to come and they want to kill the guy. That's called the goel adam, the redeemer of blood. Okay? Now it says, Kol sheyeshno b'makeh, anybody that has the makeh of goel adam, yeshno b'mishpatim, he's got the mishpatim. Kol she'eno makeh of goel adam, anybody that does not have a chiyuv mitot bedin galut, so eno mishpatim, it doesn't have mishpatim, which means there's no dinei mamonot. Mishpatim is ve'ela mishpatim asher tesim lifneim parasha mishpatim, which is going to be right after Yitro, after next week's parasha. This next week, this Shabbat is Yitro. Okay, the 10 Commandments. So next parasha is mishpatim. So therefore, on the mishpatim it says whoever has all the halachot of death and of all these things, so then they're going to have the halachot of what? Of the mishpatim as well. But if you don't have mishpatim, right? If you don't have the death, we can't put a blind person to death, right? He doesn't have all the mitot betin and chiyuv galut. He can't see. He doesn't see what's going on. Tanya idach though. There's another shita that says, "Suma en lo boshet." There's no boshet. V'chen haya Rabbi Yehuda potro mikol mitzvot hamuro b'Torah. So beforehand we said mikol dinim shebatorah. Now we're saying kol mitzvot shamuro b'Torah. So Amar of Shisha, right? Bere de Ravidi says of Shisha Bere de Ravidi. My time, what's the reason we do that? Amar the pasuk says v'zot mitzvah. This is a mitzvah. HaChukim v'Mishpatim, the Chukim and the Mishpatim. What is that referring to now? Right, the mitzvah of the Chukim and the Mishpatim. So he comes and he says, "Kol sheyeshno b'Mishpatim yeshno b'mitzvot Chukim, v'chol she'eno b'Mishpatim eno b'mitzvot Chukim." He says anybody that has the concept of the Mishpatim, they have the mitzvot and the chukim. But anybody that does not have the mishpatim do not have the mitzvot and the chukim. Okay? So we actually learn from here that since the suma is not part of the dinei mamonot of the Torah, he's also not part of the mitzvot of the Torah. Okay? So here Tosfot says that it's going to be that he should be chayav in the mitzvot midrabanan, but he shouldn't be like a goy, right? And then there's a whole thing here about fine. Okay. Then you have in the footnote, he also brings down the machloket, and that's why I told you the Rabbi to do with, is he also going to be midoraita patur even from mitzvot lo ta'aseh or not? Okay, so there's a whole question about that. But here he says for sure that it's going to be exempt from the mitzvot of the Torah, that for sure would be for the positive commandments. So Amar of Yosef says of Yosef, Meresha v'amina, at the beginning I used to say, Mandamar l'chak Rabbi Yehuda damar simot patur min mitzvot, I would say that it's going to be, I'm going to do a Yom Tov to the Rabbanan. Why? Rav Yosef became blind. Okay? My Tama, what's the reasoning? Because I'm not commanded and I'm still doing the mitzvot. But now that I heard of Rabbi Chanina, that Rabbi Chanina comes and he says a very famous rule. It's much greater a person that is commanded to do the mitzvot than somebody that's not commanded to do the mitzvot. Meaning, who's greater? Somebody that comes and he fasts because he has to fast, or he fasts because he doesn't need to fast. So it's obviously the one that needs to fast. Why? Because once it's a chovah for him, he's got a bigger yitzhara. Meaning, a person that comes and he's taking upon himself a fast. That, listen, if I want, I'm 12 years old. If I want to, so for him it's easy to fast. Why? He knows whenever he wants. Come, take a drink, and that's it. But if he's obligated to do it, it's much more difficult because he knows no matter what, I can't. So Gadola Metzuveh Ve'oseh, it's much greater a person that's commanded to do it and he does the mitzvot than what's not. So now he comes and he says, the one that tells me that the halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda, I will make a yom ha'tava de Rabbanan. My tama, what's the reasoning? Because now I'm going to get more reward. Meaning for him, what's happening now is for him, Rav Yosef, again one more time, Rav Yosef became blind. So therefore, since he became blind in the beginning, he used to say that if the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, that he says a suma is patur from the mitzvot, I would make a big yom tov for the Rabbanan. Why? I'm not obligated to do it, I'm still doing it. I get a lot of reward. But one second, but now that I actually see that the halacha is not like that, but Rabbi comes and he says that it's the opposite, so now we'll say the halacha shouldn't be like it. Okay, fine. Mishnah, Mishnah, second white line. There's going to be a chumrah more by an adam mazik, another adam, from a shor mazik adam. Why? A human being will pay the damages, suffering, well, doctor's bills, unemployment, and embarrassment. All these things a human being pays. He says, he even has to pay the value of a child, which means, let's say a person comes and he punches a woman that's pregnant and he makes her lose the pregnancy. So he has to pay that. But the shor is only going to pay the nezek, right? He doesn't have to pay also the mevladot. Next case in the Mishnah, somebody hits his father and the mother. He doesn't make a chabura. Remember, if he makes a chabura, he's now death penalty. But he hit the father or he hit the mother, but there's no bruise. So since there's no bruise, or another case, he hit his friend on Kippur. Now again, Kippur, there's karet, right? There's karet, but there's no death penalty. Meaning we don't kill him in Bedin. We leave Hashem to take care of him. That's karet. But now he did this to his friend, so whether there was a bruise or not, doesn't matter. Chayav b'kulan, in both of these cases, he's going to be chayav and everything. Why? Since there's no death penalty, so he has to pay all the damages. If somebody's going to hit an eved ivri, chayav b'kulan, he has to pay everything, except for the shevet, izman shelo, except for the unemployment if it belongs to him. Because unemployment, it's his own slave, so he doesn't have to pay for unemployment. If he's going to hit somebody else's eved kanani, he has to pay everything, even unemployment, because the master now is losing work. Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, but en lavadim boshet. There's no boshet for avadim. Meaning there's no embarrassment. The Torah never gave them embarrassment, because basically, since anyway they're a slave, it's not like that they have embarrassment. You understand? There's no embarrassment by them. Next part of the Mishnah. A deaf mute, shoteh, not a person that's not 100% there, and a katan, a minor, it's not good to be beside them. Why? Because if you hit them, you're chayav. But if they hit you, they're going to be pturim. The same halacha would apply in Eved Kenani and a woman also. If you hit them, you're going to be chayav. But if they hit you, they're going to be pturim. But they would only pay afterwards. What does that mean? If she got divorced, or then they're going to be chayav in Mishalem. Meaning, right now it's like on standby. Because right now they're not going to be obligated to pay. Right? Because they don't have what to pay. Because anything what they own belongs to the husband. So if it's not that you're obligating the husband to pay, they're obligated to pay. So if she gets divorced, that's when she's going to pay. But until then, nada. So that's why he comes in and says, it's going to be pigatan ra'ah. Okay? What if a person hits his father and mother and he made a chabura, he made a bruise? Or a chovel b'chaber on Shabbat. Somebody hit somebody on Shabbat. He's going to be patur from all the money. Why? From all the 5 things. Why? He's going to be killed, a capital punishment. He's going to be killed, death penalty. And somebody's going to hit his own eved kanani, he's going to be patur mikula. Says the Gemara on the bottom of Peizayin Mudalef. Yeah, says the Gemara. Ba mine Rabbi Lazar merav. Ask Rabbi Lazar from Rav. Chovel bebat ktana shel acherim. Chibla lemi. If somebody's going to come and he's going to hit a little girl of another family member, right? Of another, meaning another person, not his own daughter, somebody else. Chabala lemi. Who does he have to pay the chabala to? Mi amrin andu yisei kim dakna rachmana sheven neurim la'av. Since the Shevach Neurim belongs to the father, so meaning who could get her married off and all those things? It goes to the father, so to hear her should go to the father. My time, what's the reasoning? Because now she goes down in value. Right? Beforehand, she was worth whatever it is. Now he comes and he punched her out, and she's worth less in value. Well, Dilmar, maybe Shevach Neurim, only Shevach Neurim goes to the father, because he could come and he could get her married, he could get her married off to even a Mukashkin for a lot of money. He could get her married to some crazy guy, but as long as he gets the money, he gets the money. It's in his possession. Matzi masar aval chabala, can he come and he can hit her? Right? Lo matzir, he can't hit her. He has no rights to hit his own daughter. So lo so then the Torah does not give him that right. So the question is, since he could give her over to a mukashrin, so therefore he could also get everything, or do we say no? So that's the question. Okay? Look at Rahmana. Fine. So Peizayin Mubet, right? Says 87 Amud Be, 87b. So Amalei comes and he says, "Lo zikta Torah lo yav ela shevach neurim ivad." The Torah only gave you shevach neurim. That's it. So 8 so they're going to ask against this. Says the Gemara, and if you're going to hit and everything, you're going to be chayav and everything. Chutz mina shevet, except the shevet bizman shushalov, it belongs to you. 1 second. The same reason that just like the father is going to be mikabel the dmei shevet of his daughter, right? Because everything belongs to him. So therefore, the same halacha should apply. So I'm going to Abaye says, no, model av b'shevet. Shevet is different. The maaseh yadea ad shad bagru devua. Unemployment is the only thing that even he agrees goes to the father. Because since anything that she makes of money goes to the father, so too if he's going to hit out the daughter or whatever it is, he doesn't have to pay for the shevet. Why? Because it goes to him. Meaning shevet is the only thing that goes to him, that employment goes to him, because any money that she makes goes to the father. So the same thing here. If he's going to hit her and she can't work, whatever it is, anyway, he doesn't have to pay shevet or anything else because it goes to him. So therefore, obviously, there's no problem. Okay? So he comes and he says, 8 ways. So we're going to ask a question. Imagine right now you hit your older son. Now he's an older child, right? So you tell him, you have to pay him everything immediately. Bivno katan. If it's going to be a bino katan, you have to make him a sigula. What does that mean? You're going to come and you're going to invest the money in something which could make money, and then it goes to him. But if it goes into your daughter when she's going to be smaller, a minor, you're going to be patur. And not only that, everything goes to the father. So answers the same thing. We're talking about shevet. Shevet goes to the father always. But all the other things, the emet does not go to the father, it goes to the daughter. That's what we're trying to say. And we're on the 2 dots. Okay? Fine. 2 dots, Peizayin Mubet. We're 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 lines down. We said if somebody hits his son, but he's an elderly child, meaning he's above bar mitzvah. So he's telling him, he has to give him the 5 things immediately. Well, we have a contradiction. If you're going to hit the boys or girls of somebody else, and they're gdolim, you tell them, you have to give them the money immediately. If it's going to be ketanim, but if it's going to be his own children, he's going to be patur. So here you see that if it's your own children, you're going to be patur. So Amri, they say, it's not a question. If they are dependent upon you, so therefore, you're not obligated to pay them. Because since they're depending upon you, meaning they're eating off your table, so you're supporting them, so you get all the money. But if you're not supporting them and they're on their own, so then you have to pay them. That's what the Gemara answers. So says the Gemara, what are you telling me now that the first Braita is talking about that they're not eating from your table? If so, let's see the Seifa. The Seifa says if you hit your own daughter and she's a Ketana, you're going to be patur. And not only that, but other people that hit her, they have to give you the money. Now, they have to give him the money of Shevet to buy mezunot, but also there's mezunot. And even according to the Mandamar that says that the master could tell the servant, Aseini, you have to work for me. Then he's I'm not going to give you food. Hanamile, one of these words, only an Evet Kanani. Why only by an Evet Kanani? He says the Amaleh, he could say, Avida Vita Kuliyama, work for me during the day, go work at nighttime and get food and eat. But the Eved it's written, you can't do that. Because he has to eat with you, just like what you're eating. He has to drink with you, just like what you're drinking. So you cannot tell him, now you work, but you go work afterwards on your own time and make money and then buy yourself food. You can't do that. So Kolshka Mito, or the most you can't just tell that to the daughter. I mean, you cannot come and tell the daughter, listen, whatever you work comes to me, but go work extra and then, feed yourself. You can't do that. Just like Rava says, right, we're talking about extra money. The Maaseh Yadea, which is more than the Mizunot. So to here, we're talking about La Dafa. We're talking about the Maaseh Yadea is more than the Mizunot, meaning let's say she makes more money than what she really needs to eat. So in such a case, the father gets it, right? The extra money. That's what he's saying. So the schum that she needs for the mezonot, she gets. Meaning she gets the money that she needs for food, for allowance. But let's say she makes extra. Yes, exactly. The extra, exactly. The extra will always go to him. Okay? So says the Gemara, what are you telling me now that the second braita was talking about sumchim al shlechono, that they're depending upon the father. Gdolim yitelam yad, and therefore it's going to be gdolim. You have to give them the money immediately, but it's going to be ktanim. You have to make a segula. Remember, segula means you invest the money, and then it's going to start making extra money, and that money will always go to the son later on. So that's why it's like you're making a segula. So why? He says you have to give it to the father. So Amri, they said kika kapid. When is the father going to be makpid on his son? Only if he's lacking money. So, for example, let's say he's not working for him, so he's lacking money. But something that comes from the external, he's not makpid. Meaning like this: if right now the father is going to be losing money, he's makpid. He wants it. But if somebody's going to come and give a present to the son, it's nothing to do with the father. He's not makpid. Okay, it goes to the son. It's something external. It's nothing to do with me losing money. That's what he says. Okay. So ask the Gemara, what are you talking about? He says, right? How do you say that? He says, "V'hametzia." If he finds something, is the father losing? The father doesn't lose anything. It's coming from the world. V'hametzia de me'al malkati lo. It's coming from the world, and he is makpid. So Amni, they said you're right. Ravcha dekati me'al. If it's going to be stam revach that comes from the world, and there's no tzara d'ufayu begavan, the son is not suffering, the father's makpid. Why? Because the father could say, "Listen, you know what? He's not suffering. He just found something. I get it. Why? It comes to me." But Chabbalah, that the son is suffering, the father's not going to say, "Listen, you know what? You're suffering because you just got punched out, but I still want the money." The father feels, you know what? Okay, you deserve it. You just got thing, so you keep the money. Low copy. He's not going to be makpid. So says the Gemara, 1 second, the Ahatam, but over there, there is tzara guf, right? We're talking about a ketana, that somebody else hit her. The tzara guf, and it's coming from the world. And we said that he is makpid. Diktani, as we said, they have to give to the father the money. So if they're giving the father the money, it means that he is makpid. So Amni, they said, Hatam the Gabra, no, there he was a person that's a kapdan. Because they're not sumchim al shulchano. So because even if it's going to come from somewhere else, he's still going to be makpid. But over here, right? He's not a person that's makpid because there's sumchim al shulchano. So kikakapid, when is going to be makpid? Only if he's lacking. If it's going to come from the outside, lo kapid is not going to be makpid. So you see from here that there's going to be a difference between, there are certain people that are kaptanim. You see them until today. You see people, they won't give a penny to the child. You say, like what? It's your child. No, let him work. Fine, but help him out. Get him on his feet. Let him, no, and it's crazy. Sometimes I've seen people and they have money. We're not talking about misken, a guy that's poor, that doesn't have money, so he's not going to give it to the child. He tells him, go to work. No. A guy that has money doesn't give his children money. It's called a kaptan. What a kaptan doesn't want. But he says some people don't have a kaptan. So it all depends on the human being, obviously. Okay? The Gemara now asks, what is segula? So Rav Chasta comes and he says, Sefer Torah. He buys a Sefer Torah. Right? And then what's going to happen is, that means that's the segula. He's going to buy a Sefer Torah. And then afterwards, the child will be able to have the Sefer Torah. No, he says no. He buys a date tree. And then he can eat from those fruits. So if it's like it's like an investment, as we said it before. Right? But Rabbi Yochanan Amar, afilu p'tzia. So the Shakish actually comes and he says that the Torah only gave to the father the shevach neurim. So the father is going to be accepting is not going to accept anything of Chabbalah. And if somebody hit the daughter, the father doesn't get that. But Rabbi Yochanan says the father does get, p'tzia, but anything, any little tiny hit. So says Imra, p'tzia, you really think so? Afilu bilazar komi ba'ale, Chabbalah, we're talking about Chabbalah is like a mamash, a bruise, a hit, not a p'tzia, a little tiny thing. So answers the Gemara, that they actually went down in value. Right? Pechet Amud from the top, 88 on top. But if we're talking about p'tzia that doesn't bring down the value, we're not talking about that. So Rabbi Yosef Bar Chanina says, Yosef Bar Chanina, right? We're talking about that he hit her in the face. That's why he went down. And that's why he goes to the father. Meaning that it does go down. We were talking about p'tsia, even though it wasn't a mamasha blow. But still, once it's on the face, that's it. It's, it goes down in value. That's it. So therefore, it would go to the father.